Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So it's been a while. Last time we were talking about surgery. I was doing my surgical appointment at that time, which lasted 2 months, and now I started my GYN appointment. So it's been a week now. So today's Sunday, so it's literally the end of that first week. And let me tell you, it's a much better experience now than it was with surgery. So much easier. When I say it's easier, it's just it's not the workload. The workload is almost just about the same, but it's easier on us. I would say better timing. We start at 8, we finish at 4 p.m. during the week, and on Saturdays we finish at 12, and Sundays off. So there is plenty of time to breathe and to study, and if you have to do anything else, there's plenty of time to do so. It's a much better experience, I would say, compared to where I was 2 months ago. So right now what I'll be doing today, since I got final first day off, I'm going to be basically studying GYN try to catch up as much as possible, because we have already done 2 appointments in GYN during 3rd and 4th year, but the reality is that once you get out of those 2 months, you don't remember anything. So most of us started this appointment not remembering anything from GYN, so it's almost a start over. So I have to start from scratch, relearn everything. Because the reality of these appointments is, especially with GYN or pediatrics, because those are the 2 subjects that last 1 month each. By the time you finish that first month, that's when you start to understand the subject and you start to get your head in the subject, So by that time, you finish the appointment and you start a new one. So everything that you have learned and you understood, you started to understand, you forget. So practically, I don't think it's a good system. They need to do something about it, because this 3rd and 4th, while we're doing these appointments, we also have to do our theory subjects, and they expect us to know everything by the time we come to professorials, but the reality is completely different. So yeah, anyway, here we are. I'm going to be doing some anatomy first, and then I'm going to indulge in gynecology and obstetrics. So to be honest, I'm not quite a fan of these 2 subjects. I prefer surgery or GYN, but it is what it is. You have to go through these subjects as well, all 5 of them, and then eventually, I suppose you can choose which subject you like the most. Practice your way to reach consultancy in that subject. Unfortunately, it started to rain, so I don't know how long I'll be able to stay here. I had to change place, unfortunately. It started to rain, so we'll continue indoors. So I must have mentioned this already in my previous videos as well. Now, when you come to 5th year, it's a completely different story. You're not just going to be focusing on the final year subjects, which are, in this case, obgyn, surgery, medicine, etc. But it's basically an entire revision of what you did during the last 5 years. So that includes anatomy, includes physiology, pathology, pharmacology. Those are the main 4 subjects that they're going to be focusing on. On top of that, biochemistry as well. So it's a mix, and they're expecting you to know those subjects by the time you come to 5th year. Obviously, the reality is completely different. You might have passed those subjects during the first 4 years, but there are things that you have forgotten along the way. So it's 5th year, it's hard, not just because you have to study those final year subjects, but also because you have to restudy everything from the first 4 years. So that's, I suppose, it's a big difference compared to other universities out there. So like I always say in my videos, these are for you guys to understand mostly what it means to be a medical student here in Sri Lanka, and what is the best way to survive. And from my advice for you guys would be, make sure that you're on top of those 4 subjects at least: anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, pathology, because those are the ones that you're going to be assessed on mostly. And also for you guys to realize, if you're able to find a university out there outside of Sri Lanka where you can study medicine, maybe you should take it. If you're able to go to the UK or to Europe, there are several universities out there that you guys can go and practice, become medical students and eventually to practice as doctors, where work ethics is much better than here in Sri Lanka. Obviously, if you have no other choice, then you have to come to Sri Lanka. There are ways to deal with it, to make it easy for you. You have to go and study those subjects from the beginning. And if you do that, eventually over time, you'll see that it becomes easier and easier. So by the time you come to 5th year, then you should be at least thorough with those 4 subjects. But the reality is that it's hard, it's not easy to be on top of those subjects, because you're going to be accumulating more and more knowledge along the way. So you have to spend time remembering those, and you slightly start to forget the previous subjects that you studied, which is a normal thing that happens for everyone. For me to remember subjects, one of the things that I found very helpful was to teach others, and that's what I've been doing, especially for anatomy. So I remember most of my anatomy because I've been teaching 1st years and 2nd years. Alright, so that's just about under 1 hour of running, which I've been able to do after 2 months of surgery. It's difficult to find a balance, to do exercise and to be healthy, and to study and to do everything essentially. So it's been really tough for the past 2 months with surgery going on and the timings. So that's one of the struggles that you guys will have to face, especially if you come in to study here in Sri Lanka. So that's one thing. And now doing gin and obs, since we have a little bit more time, we get Sundays off, I'm starting to go back to my normal routine to be able to do the things that I wasn't able to do during surgery, which is good. Which being active and being able to eat healthy foods, especially from home, it's a plus, especially with the hectic schedules of being a medical student. All right, so it's 3 o'clock now. I ended up watching a movie after eating lunch, and now I'm gonna start again and continue with antenatal care. Just before I get to continue with this video, what I want to say is that there are a lot of you that ask questions about KDU, and especially there's been one student this morning that texted me asking whether it's better to go to KDU or to go to Belarus. Now that's a difficult question to answer because there are pros and cons, but my general advice is, if you have a place other than KDU to study medicine, or other than going to any local university in Sri Lanka, I would say take it. So if you have the chance to go to Belarus, you have the financial capabilities to do so, take it. Go over there and explore what it means to be medical students internationally. It's not just about studying medicine, but it's also about grasping the other opportunities that come with that. So if you study abroad, what you'll see is that there are so many other possibilities for you guys. I've made a video recently about medical extracurriculars, which is something that you don't get to do here in Sri Lanka so often. But outside, like in Europe, America, Australia, these are things that are really that the universities emphasize on. For example, teaching or doing research. These are things that you unfortunately cannot do here. One being that because of the medical curriculum and how it's been designed, you don't get the time to get involved in these things. So, and they also don't prioritize these things. And thirdly, I would say it's because you don't need to get involved in teaching or research for you to go up the ladder from being an actual towards doing, for instance, surgery or for doing a certain specialty. So these things are not taken into account here, therefore they don't carry a particular weight. But outside of here, Europe for instance, they look at these things, they emphasize on these things, and they look for these things, especially when they look for candidates for certain job applications. So these are things that you are able to do in Belarus for instance. So, and you'll have also much better university experience, better university life, you know, culture wise it's so much better out there than being stuck here. So I would say if you have the financial capabilities and you're ready to, you know, take on a challenge and see the world out there, I would say do it. Go to Belarus, and that would be a better option, because there are a lot of you that think about going to Belarus or going to places like China for instance. I would say take those opportunities and, you know, learn medicine and come back if you want to obviously work in Sri Lanka. Alright, so with that said, I'm going to conclude today's video here. I'm going to get back to do some journal ops right now, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Obviously, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. And make sure, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.